Welcome to On Cooldown, the weekly WoW news show right here at Marcelian&Online. In today's episode we have my main man Ian talking about real stuff, class pruning, old abilities and more about the future of WoW. Big profession updates coming in 8.2, new items, recipes, mats and the hopes that jewel crafters can make some real money. Ah, come on! If you like to have fun in WoW, make sure it doesn't reduce the amount of subscription time you will have, because Blizzard will drop the ban hammer. Already did on Island Expeditions and Freehold twink boosts. Essences are getting changed again and again. Oh, and while I was writing this script, a few more essences got changed. Hard to keep up? Man, it's freaking hard to keep you guys updated, that's what. And more goodies to come next week when 8.2 finally hits. Hello you wonderful people, it's freaking Friday with the weekend breathing down our necks. And I hope you had an amazing week. And if you didn't, well, the weekend starts at got no fucks to give o'clock, so let's hit it with the news. On our first news piece, we have Ian coming out with a video talking about the 8.2 patch, PTR feedback, and a bunch of other stuff. I will cover a few of the main topics that were cool, but feel free to check the video out after you watch this, of course. Please, just watch this one first. One of the coolest things addressed that got me and a lot of old school players, and by old school I don't mean classic, really excited. Ian doubled down on class identity and spec identity. And pruning. He mentioned the team liked the way the design was going, with stuff like Frost Mages having most if not all the frosty spells, while Arcane had all the arcane-y things. They also believe that after years of continuous pestering, forum posts, Reddit cries and in-game tickets, that they went a bit too far with class pruning. By class pruning they believe that although removing certain buttons from classes that were never used felt necessary, they also feel that they removed a bit too much. The example Ian made was altered time for mages, stances for warriors and other things. One of the points argued was that in trying to focus on class identity, they ended up focusing on spec identity instead. Meaning you aren't really playing a mage now, you're playing a fire, frost or arcane mage. Each spec is different flavors, different spells almost exclusively. When in the old days you would see mages spec'd into fire, shoot a frostbolt for their slow, then continue pummeling fire spells. Is it better? I actually like the spec flavor. When I play Beastmaster Hunter, I have all the things to pump my beast friend full of juice. When I play Survival, I have harpoons and wing clips to control the pace of the fight. Do I want wing clip on marksman when a target is getting close? Not really, it will dilute the flavor of survival in favor of homogenizing the specs, which we had before. Do I regret stuff like Black Arrow being taken away, Explosive Trap being PvP only? Hell yeah! I'm in the camp of keeping specs as flavorish as they can, but if you are going to take a spell away from one spec to keep it in another, give that other spec something in return. This is of course my personal opinion, which in 2019 is a disclaimer content creators have to make. But I'm curious, how many people feel the same or different? What are your thoughts about the class pruning? Blizzard definitely wants to double down on bringing old abilities back, and hopefully new ones too. They do want to do it properly, since logging in one day on your warrior and seeing stances back might bring a tear to your eye. But if you can only kick in berserker stance and shield wall in defensive, that might make people say, what the fuck? Again, this is the thought process of the devs that once again think we cannot handle the complexity of stances in 2019. Can we stop getting these arguments, please? It's not that we would find stance swapping complicated, right Ian? Is that certain players might realize they need to actually practice their spec to be able to do the same thing, and that would discourage them from playing. Right? AKA fewer subs, right? Do we even have any evidence of that? What I'm saying is that an RPG and an MMO to boot should reward the effort put into learning and mastering a spec, and once upon a time when we had more buttons to press and things were cumbersome and inefficient, WoW was a much more popular game. Could that be a coincidence? The other thing Ian mentioned, and I agree with, is PvE and PvP gear working in each other's realm of content. What? Don't burn me just yet, just listen, okay? There's a point to be made when a PvE trinket is the ultimate best in slot for all specs and all comps in arenas. That's a bit too much. But for certain items, from PvE to work in PvP is something that connects the two types of players and the content into a much more complete world. An MMO should make you feel like you're a part of a much bigger world with multiple possibilities. The devs don't think it's wrong for a PvE reward to be very good at the high end of the PvP spectrum, and being an arena player able to get that PvE reward will put you ahead of your competition, which is the main reason you are first complaining about the situation and playing arenas to begin with. Competitive content should reward players that put in that extra effort. If I raid as a hunter and the best trinket drops as an arena reward and I get it, that'll give me a prestige level and put me ahead of my fellow hunters and help my group progress further. Does the parallel content farm impact your own schedule? Is it too much or takes too long to also get good at PvP just to be able to raid? Then don't get it. But if someone has the skill to do both and get it, don't you think that someone should feel like the effort is rewarded? Am I talking alien here? At least some effort is rewarded, and that effort is persistence of discipline priests in arena. It only took Blizzard a whole season of nerfing discipline into the ground before one guy said, yo guys, should we keep this spec as an option for PvP or just sack it? Dome of Light gives a bigger cooldown reduction but adds less damage reduction, meaning we will have more uptime on it, but it won't be as strong. Trinity buffed, finally. Now it will transfer 20% more healing up from 12 with Atonement, and Ultimate Radiance heal was increased to 250% from 200%. The buffs are in the double digits, again hitting my pet peeve. The spec was underperforming so much that they had to buff it by so much. I understand why they are doing it now to prevent further leaderboard distress at the end of the season. But did they really need to wait so long to realize the nerfs they did messed up a spec so much that almost nobody plays it at all? Ever since December? On to the next bit, professions. Now before you get riled up, just listen. The stat increases we've been having since 8.0 has kind of made this an obvious outcome. All of the professions, the consumables making ones now as well, have had their recipes upgraded. We've seen this with crafting ones like leatherworking back when 8.1 was released. Now we will have jewel crafters, enchanters, alchemists able to craft stronger versions of their gems, flasks and enchants alongside other recipes. As an example, blacksmiths can craft one part of a recipe and engineers the other one, and when their powers combine, by your powers combined, I am a freaking rockin' mount. Not to mention a whole bunch of other stuff we can play with when raising our skill level to 175. Yep, the skill cap will be raised and the new stuff will require your skill to be above 150. So if you haven't leveled your profession yet, do it now. On a not so jolly note, earlier this week Blizzard cracked down on some leveling quirks players worked out when doing island expeditions or the Freehold dungeon. Basically what you would do is get a 110 level character fully equipped with legendary and top-notch gear and have it get its experience blocked. Yep, you can do this to prevent leveling up. Why would you do that, Flame? Well, viewer, by keeping it at a lower level, you would take advantage of the scaling mechanic and turn that 110 twink into a beast that plowed through the content at a super speed. Now, with a nerf, if somebody in your group has their XP turned off, everybody gets 95% less XP. Why 95? Is it a magic number? I was told not to ask too many questions. This method has been in the game since 8.0, and I believe that's how long it took Blizzard to realize people were spending less subscription time leveling, which is something we can never have, of course, because money! I might be overreacting, but this, plus the potion bug bans, which again was their fault, point into a direction where Blizzard does not want you to blast through boring content because you might end up being subscribed for less by a month or two. If the reasoning is different, I shall await your comments with my arms crossed in a dismissive manner. No, really now, whatever the reasoning was behind this, I feel the change is one of those that cuts down on fun to make it, what, fair? Why shouldn't the game be fun? This is in the same boat as class nerfs. Instead of buffing underperformers, they nerf overperformance because people who figure out how to overperform tackle the content at a much higher speed and rate. Raids get cleared faster, gearing up becomes faster, and literally we are done with the content faster. Is this a conspiracy theory? Is Flame trying to say something here? Listen, from a business standpoint, if I was making a game with a subscription, sure, I would want my players to be subscribed until they started having social problems. But making the game more tedious just because certain players were creative feels very shitty. Was this the wrong way of doing it? Is there a right way of doing it? Don't know, I just pay for the game hoping it's fun and worth my time. It's not that I disagree with the nerf, it's that I disagree with the mentality behind it, and the nerf is just a good example for making my point. Again, this is my opinion, I'm not an overlord, please let me know what you guys think, because things only change when the community is behind them. Now on to more cheerful things, secrets and bells. What bells? This bell! Yep, it seems that even though you are subscribed, it's not enough to tell YouTube you want to get notified. So click this little rascal and wait for stuff to come to you. What stuff? Definitely not secrets, because you actually have to work for them. We don't really dive into these here, mostly because I'm salty that I cannot have the time to do them. But I still think secrets in game are really cool and make the game a lot better. There have been a few secrets found in 8.2 by our special secrets finding community, and if I say secret one more time, I might just myself in the eye with a dull pen. Sorry, but YouTube does not let me say those things and monetize the video at the same time. Without spoiling the fun and revealing everything, one of the secrets I'll use as an example, and you can check the rest if you want to in the WoW secret finding Discord channel, is the secret seahorse mount from Merlor. Merlor is an NPC you find in Nazjatar and have to rescue by doing some quests. Once you've done it, you will essentially start a trading game where you have to buy specific vendor items and trade them to Merlor on specific days, and once you get the right amount of mats, you can trade them for a mount. There are a lot more factors going into this, which I recommend you check if you are interested. There are other secrets that are currently just speculated at the moment. Just as before, the secret finding community found a way to attain them, so it's only a matter of time. Interested? Check their Discord channel and join the fun. I'll be here trying to see how viable frost decays will be. Essences are getting changed and tuned once again. When I mentioned that we will see a lot of balance going around, a part of me was thinking, shit, what if they stop the final iteration and not do any more updates? Ha ha ha. No, really, it turns out essences are very difficult to balance since they are supposed to work for multiple classes at the same time, and each spec gets a slightly different result than another one. Blizzard has their hands full at the moment, and frankly, so do we. In the hopes of not making this into a habit for the next god knows how many weeks, I will talk about the most noticeable and important changes, if any. But keep in mind, fine-tunings are going around almost across the board on a weekly basis, and there's no guarantee that even when the raid releases, the buffs and nerfs will stop. Two of the essences addressed the most this week were Ripple in Space, that had its cooldown lowered from 90 seconds to 60 seconds. The other was Memory of Lucid Dreams, with a few more changes. The cooldown was lowered from 3 minutes to 2 minutes, the major effect duration at rank 1 was buffed to 12 seconds from 10, rank 2 duration also raised to 15 seconds up from 12, and rank 3 has a nerf to the versatility buff by 35%. Another important mention I want to make about the minor effect of Memory of Lucid Dreams, where you are rewarded a 50% refund on the resource spent. Blizzard clarified the issue for certain specs like Warlocks that spend a soul shard that are not destruction spec, or paladins with spells that consume 3 holy powers. When the refund is not something that can easily be delivered to your UI, like half a soul shard or 1.5 holy powers, the amount that does not make a full unit will be held back and rewarded to you when it contributes to the next full unit of a resource so that it can be represented on your UI properly. You won't be losing anything, but just because you didn't get a refund doesn't mean the system didn't register it, so don't fret. Every week there's new stuff to talk about, and if you've missed something or just want to know all the hot topics of WoW, check our other on cooldown episodes. Shout out to our patrons for their continued support for our content. If you want to become a patron as well and join the team, check the details down below. Do you ever go out with friends and they start talking about League of Legends and you're like, dude, I'm playing WoW here, I don't care about League of Legends, don't you get it? And they don't? Well, how about telling them in style by getting our official Marcelian&Online gear Titan Forged with WoW graphics to show your true love of the game. Get your t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, mugs down in our official Teespring link and show your friends where your loyalties truly lie. Thanks for watching the video and have an amazing weekend.